Imagine opening an ordinary drawer inside a royal residence and finding an object that, according to the story, had effectively disappeared from Princess Diana's history for nearly 3 decades. No dramatic warning, no palace announcement, just a velvet case hidden beneath personal belongings, and inside it, an emerald bracelet allegedly connected to Diana herself. The narrative claims Princess Anne immediately recognized something about the piece that made an innocent explanation difficult. A distinctive repaired clasp she supposedly remembered from years earlier. But finding the bracelet was only the beginning. What followed, according to this account, involved old inventory records, questions surrounding how Diana's possessions were handled after her death, an alleged handwritten instruction intended for Prince William, and an increasingly uncomfortable confrontation involving Anne, King Charles, and Queen Camilla. Before we uncover the full story, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more fascinating royal family stories, forgotten history, and dramatic moments from behind palace walls. Because this mystery isn't really about emeralds or their value. It's about ownership, memory, trust, and one question that drives the entire narrative. If this bracelet truly belonged with Diana's family, how could it supposedly remain hidden for so many years, and who knew where it was? The story begins with something far less dramatic than a royal confrontation, an apparent discrepancy in an inventory. According to the narrative, a review of possessions associated with Diana revealed that one catalog entry did not properly match the object or record it was supposed to describe. Princess Anne becomes central to the account because she is portrayed as someone trusted to follow paperwork wherever it leads, regardless of whose position might become uncomfortable. That characterization draws on Anne's long-standing public reputation for discipline, duty, and directness, but the specific investigation described here remains part of the competitor's narrative rather than a confirmed palace account. Following the disputed record supposedly leads Anne to Clarence House, and eventually toward a private dressing area associated with Camilla. There, the story says, she encounters a drawer that initially resists opening. Beneath a folded scarf sits a velvet jewelry case. Inside is an emerald and diamond bracelet. Yet its appearance alone is not what supposedly convinces Anne that something is wrong. The narrative emphasizes a repaired clasp, a small imperfection said to distinguish Diana's bracelet from another similar piece. Anne allegedly recognizes that repair, transforming what could have been a simple catalog error into a much more serious question about how the jewelry arrived there. Once the bracelet is identified within the story, the mystery moves from the jewelry itself to the paperwork surrounding it. The narrative claims an old inventory label associated the piece with Diana and, more importantly, indicated that it had been intended for Prince William. Another record supposedly stated that the bracelet had been removed for specialist conservation. That explanation sounds routine until, according to the story, inquiries reveal no corresponding workshop record, delivery confirmation, job number, or documented return. At that point, the competitor script interprets the discrepancy as evidence that someone altered the administrative trail. Again, there is no basis in the supplied material for presenting this as an officially established royal investigation, but within the narrative, it becomes the first major escalation. Anne is portrayed as refusing to treat the discovery as an emotional dispute between Diana and Camilla. Instead, she reduces everything to 3 concrete questions. Who owned the bracelet? Who changed its record? And why was an item supposedly removed for professional conservation allegedly sitting inside a private drawer decades later? This framing is important because it shifts the story away from familiar royal rivalry and toward accountability. If the records were genuinely inaccurate, sentiment would become secondary. someone would have to explain how a valuable personal object apparently moved outside the system designed to track it. The narrative then brings King Charles into the mystery. According to the account, Anne shows him the bracelet, and he recognizes the repaired clasp as well. His alleged reaction is presented not as outrage, but as silence, which the storyteller interprets as recognition of both the object and the complications surrounding it. From there, the story reaches backward to the period following Diana's death in 1997, when her possessions had to be cataloged and decisions made about what would remain with her sons or enter other collections. William and Harry were still children dealing with an unimaginable loss, meaning adults necessarily handled much of that administrative responsibility. The competitor narrative claims the emerald bracelet was photographed, labeled, and designated for William before disappearing from the expected chain of custody. It further alleges that an inventory entry was later changed to suggest conservation work. These details are crucial to the story's mystery, but they are also among the claims that should remain clearly attributed rather than treated as established historical fact. Emotionally, however, the narrative asks a powerful question. What happens when administrative silence surrounding a grieving family's possessions lasts so long that nobody remembers where responsibility ended? By this stage, Anne is no longer portrayed as searching for a missing jewel. She is searching for the decision that supposedly allowed it to disappear. The confrontation described in the story becomes far more serious when Anne allegedly brings the bracelet directly into a private meeting with Charles and Camilla. Rather than turning the moment into a personal argument about Diana, Anne reportedly focuses on the evidence in front of her, a bracelet associated with Diana, an inventory trail that no longer makes sense, and its unexpected location inside a private drawer. According to the narrative, Camilla initially explains that the jewelry had been kept close for protection during years of household moves and changes. But that explanation immediately creates another question. If preservation was genuinely the goal, why would an historically important piece remain in a personal drawer instead of being formally recorded and secured through the appropriate collection system? The story portrays Anne as pressing precisely that point. Charles then allegedly makes a crucial distinction. While he had wanted Diana's possessions protected during the complicated period following her death, he had never authorized anyone to retain the bracelet privately for decades. That claim changes the atmosphere completely. What initially looked like a disagreement over where an old piece of jewelry belonged now becomes a question about whether temporary custody had somehow transformed into permanent concealment, and whether the paperwork had been changed to prevent anyone from noticing. Then comes the revelation that gives the competitor narrative its strongest emotional dimension, an alleged handwritten message from Diana. According to the story, Camilla explains that she had discovered a note in which Diana expressed a wish concerning the bracelet and Prince William's future. The account says Diana wanted William to receive the piece before his marriage and ultimately decide what should happen to it afterward. If true, such an instruction would transform the bracelet from a valuable royal object into something deeply personal, a mother's intended gift to her son. But the supplied script provides this as part of its dramatic reconstruction, not as a publicly authenticated Diana letter, so that distinction remains important. Within the story, however, the alleged note changes everything. Anne supposedly demands not only the letter itself, but the complete documentary trail showing who handled the bracelet and why the instruction was never carried out. Charles, meanwhile, is forced to confront another uncomfortable possibility. Perhaps years of avoiding painful questions allowed other people to make decisions that should never have been theirs. The narrative presents his silence after Diana's death as something originally intended to reduce conflict, yet eventually capable of creating a different problem. By refusing to reopen difficult history, The family may have allowed uncertainty surrounding Diana's possessions to become increasingly difficult to untangle. The emotional climax arrives when the narrative finally places the bracelet, the alleged letter, William, Charles, and Anne in the same room. According to the story, William reads words supposedly written by his mother years before his wedding and discovers that she had imagined a future she would never live to see. Diana is described as wanting her son to decide whether the emerald bracelet should eventually belong to the woman with whom he built his family or be preserved for his children. That idea gives the story its most poignant contrast. William married Catherine in 2011, surrounded by worldwide attention, while the narrative claims his mother's instruction concerning that very future remained hidden elsewhere. The supplied script describes William becoming emotional as he reaches the final portion of the message, while Charles acknowledges that Diana's wishes should have taken priority over household decisions. Whether that private scene occurred cannot be established from the source, but its storytelling purpose is clear. The bracelet stops representing an old conflict between Diana and Camilla, and instead becomes a connection between Diana and the adult life of the son she left behind. The story then has William make a significant choice. Rather than allowing the jewelry to disappear into storage again, he decides that its future should belong with his own family. The narrative closes by bringing the bracelet into the next generation. Catherine is described as receiving the emerald piece from William and eventually wearing it publicly, turning an object supposedly hidden for decades into a visible symbol of Diana's continuing place within the family. The competitor script goes even further, claiming that a subsequent review formally corrected the bracelet's history and removed Camilla from future decisions involving Diana's possessions. Those are substantial claims for which the supplied script does not provide independently verifiable documentation, so they should not be presented as established palace fact. But as a piece of storytelling, the conclusion carries a clear message. Hiding painful history does not necessarily resolve it. Sometimes silence simply delays the moment when unanswered questions return. In this narrative, Anne begins by following one suspicious catalog entry and supposedly ends up confronting decades of decisions surrounding Diana's memory. William, meanwhile, is given the opportunity. The story says his mother always intended him to have the freedom to decide what happens next. Now we want to hear from you. If Diana truly left such an instruction, do you think her wishes should have been followed immediately? Share your opinion in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel with notifications turned on for more royal family stories, mysteries, and forgotten moments from royal history.